It was an accident, is what I'm trying to say. It was a complete accident and still is. So I have no qualifications to do what I do. So you have every right to say, I'm not watching him, he's not qualified. Would you go and see a doctor and say, yeah, I can heal people, but I don't know how I do it? No, no, I want to see the bit of paper. What was the question? No idea. I'll have one more here, and I've really got to go. Not having been to drama school, and the main, the directors at the time, ran the professional theatres, said I should go. And so I applied, and I couldn't get in. So there I was, kind of left between this place where I couldn't earn any money. I mean, we had cooperatives, but you generally end up spending more on the bar than you do. You end up owing money at the end. It's just quite embarrassing. But it did still, I felt interesting work, and you're learning all the time. And then I got a phone call from Simon Bennett, who was in Auckland, moved to Auckland and was producing a production of Twelfth Night. And I said, do you want to be in it? Well, I had nothing else on, and he had a place for me to stay. So I moved to Auckland, and I've just stayed here ever since. There wasn't a lot of telly in Wellington in those days. There wasn't a lot to do. So there was Shark in the Park, I think. I don't know if that's on your site, or what else is things like skits, I think, were on. Sort of Dave Gibson was making some stuff, but it was before Duggan and before. It just wasn't. No, it was before Shortland Street. So there really wasn't a lot of television we were making. I mean, I suppose, in my late 20s by then, and the casting director at the time had said, well, what television has he done? He's 28 years old or whatever I was. And I said, well, I haven't done any. We can't be very good. That was the theory. If you hadn't done a lot of telly, then you wouldn't. And I haven't heard of you, who are you? But because I come from another town, I guess. Anyway, so they saw me, and then I managed to get the roles for 2 weeks originally. 5 years later. In those days we were very lucky too, I think, on Shorters, because we had all the best writers and directors and actors, because there was no other television to make. So they all kind of congregated there. I mean, it was always going to be a soap opera, but perhaps it was a little bit better than it might have otherwise been, because a lot of those writers, we didn't have Outrageous Fortune or Insider's Guide to Happiness or Hot House or whatever it is. We didn't have this diversity of other projects to do. I still don't know what happened. They've never really explained it to me. You're in this shot. Murray Keane was directing. He said, you're in this shot and you're not in the next one. And there was a big whoosh. And they had lifeguards there at Muriwai Beach. It's very strange to be present at your own death, but or not death, or whatever it was. Well, I mean, apparently my wallet washed up later, so fiscally I'm dead. So this is the nearest thing almost to live TV we've sort of done since the telethon the other day. They fly up on the Friday, sit around on the Saturday, write the stuff, bang it out. By Sunday it's honed, and then Sunday night we'd pick the scripts up at like 9 o'clock or something, or if we were lucky, a bit earlier. And then we were on set 6 o'clock the next morning, with lots and lots of words, because they weren't shy in writing lots of big words. It had to be pretty tightly scripted, because we were doing a lot of current affairs stuff and we were referring to a lot of real people. So once it had been through the legal department, that was it. That's what we said. This is the wording we will use. So there was no extemporisation, as it were. But that was part of the nature of it. You had to rock it and just get it out there. And I think that's why people did like it, is because it was talking about something that had happened really recently. One of the more interesting characters I've played, in terms of really hard work too. It takes a lot of energy. Yeah, but no, he was fond of his speed. In the very first series, he was quite sort of threatening. I think they've made him a little less threatening as we've gone on. He's kind of become a bit. But I still kind of like the idea that he could just go at any minute. I kind of like that. Like almost like a child, a very small child. I mean, you're a father yourself. Their emotional capacity to go from 0 to 10. And back again. So suddenly it's all, oh! Anyway. I'll kill you, I'll fucking kill you, I'll fucking kill you. Is that a nice, that's a nice shirt, where did you get that shirt? The inability to see how others find this absolutely terrifying, because he's, if you take a lot of drugs, I guess it's, wouldn't know about that, but I've read. What I'd like too that James and Rachel have done is that they've written a lot of characters, which I know in these economic times I'm noticing with a lot of other series is that they're not running a lot of guests. I guess money constraints mean you can't just keep hiring tons and tons of actors. But I know the one thing I like about them as writers is that they do like having lots of people around. So we all get to see lots of really good Kiwi actors up there. There was a scene where I had to burn down a video store, and the thing actually did catch fire, and it was supposed to, but it really caught fire, and the wall caught fire, and the set caught fire. But I really enjoyed it, because I thought, oh, there's firemen here, it's all perfectly safe. So, and plus the character's not really afraid of fire. In fact, he's a pyromaniac. So I was having good fun, and I sort of felt the strange thing. And then I just remember being sort of pulled out. You've got to come out, and there's lots of waving. And I couldn't hear because of the roar of the flames, which gives you an idea how intense it actually was. So they pulled it out. And I felt my contact lenses sort of scrunching into my eyes. And I thought, oh, this is perhaps... But I was really enjoying it because I'm a bit, because I don't drive, you see. So when other people drive me, I'm not like a driver who'd go, well, that's a bit, what are you doing? That's a bit fast. There's a red light. I can't do all that because I don't know what's going on. So I just sort of completely trusted it. If we're going quite fast, I go, you know, no, don't mind really. Same thing with the fire. There's a whole lot of people say, we know how fire works. Brilliant. So yeah, apparently it was really dangerous. But you know, if my wig caught, God, it was a bit singed and stuff. I mean, I was fine, but it was really to be in the heart and the intense of this heart, this huge fire. It wasn't an acting moment, but it was just good fun. Nearest I'll get to being a stuntman, I guess. It was about the writers for a change, not about the actors. And it's interesting because James had written Shortland Street, so it was a bit about that. He'd written a play called Serial Killers, and it was sort of based on that. And I think he was quite surprised when they commissioned it, you know, because it is quite critical of television administration and how they do things and networks and so forth. But it really was Shortland Street. I don't care what people say. Well, that's what it was because James was writing from his own experience, I guess. I mean, a lot of writers did come up and say, that's me, you know, and you're playing me in that, you know. They shall remain nameless, but I do remember getting off a bus. We were all taken up to set. We shot in Littleton, and we got off the bus, and we were going to be shooting in a graveyard up there. It's a beautiful cemetery in Littleton, and we got off the bus, and everyone's sort of waving frantically, you know. And Michael J. Fox goes, "Oh yeah," and when they got off the bus, Lionel. That was quite funny because they didn't know. The other little kids, they wouldn't have seen probably a lot of his work, you know, but they knew mine, and I was kind of not proud from a personal point of view, but the fact that Kiwis were watching Kiwi Telly, I was kind of happy about that, you know. But he was very shocked. He went, what? Looking at me going, what the fuck is that? So it was kind of funny. The first day of my shoot, we were down in just outside of Methven on the road to Erewhon, which is nowhere, obviously, backwards, a sheep station. And it was a big hill in the middle of the Canterbury Plains, and it looked amazing. They'd built a castle, you know, they built Edoras, you know, the Rohan Castle, and it was up there, and I had to I played a character called Harmer who stops them at the door, you know, the fellowship turn up. And I'm in this castle, and there's a crew of about 250, and I'm in a real castle. I didn't have to go and say you have to pretend you're in a... No, you don't pretend. And I'm in this armour, I've never tried this before. And it was, well, I had tried it, but bits of it, but they'd sort of refined it, and I had this thing, and I had my false beard and a wig. So suddenly and the camera's on me first, you know, so I've not done one thing, and I'm sort of going, what's the pitch of this? Is it like Xena with more money, or is it, I don't know what you want, man. And they always say the same thing. He said, do what you did in the audition, Peter Jackson. This is Peter Jackson. I said, well, have you got the tape? Because that was 6 months ago, wasn't it? But we got through it. And Ian McKellen, to his, or Serena, as some people call him, he was very nice. He said to me, he said, oh, you must be very good. And I said, well, what makes you say that? He said, well, he only made you do it 4 times. Usually makes me do it about 8. Goes on and on. The only thing about TV, I think, maybe, it can be a little ageist, you know. That's my only, that's a problem for me, you know, being over 40. The networks seem to believe that people over 40 don't really, well, there's no point in advertising to them because you know they're not gonna change what they buy. They already like what they buy, so they're going to buy that. And that younger people who are apparently vulnerable to advertising only want to see people their own age in something. So yeah, unless you have cable, you know, people like ourselves, you know. I remember when I was a kid, I watched Dad's Army. So, you know, I don't think you have to be young old to watch old people, or young to watch young people. It doesn't. If it's an interesting story, surely we'll. I mean, the Beverly Hillbillies, Jed Clampett. He was in his 60s, wasn't he? Heaven's sake.